This is an article called The Little Shift by Jeff Witzeman. It was written on December 20th, and it's on his Substack. You can access it there and read it for yourself. But this is how it goes. Here we are. It's the end of the world as we know it. Do you feel fine? REM made the song popular back in the 80s. We laughed and cranked it up in our cars, but I find it much harder to feel fine about the end of the world as we know it these days. This one is different. It hit me during Thanksgiving. I've always had two celebrations Thanksgiving weekend. One to celebrate my gratitude, and the second to celebrate my grief. Thanksgiving is just the start of the grieving season, and for me, finishes somewhere around January 10th. But this Thanksgiving, I did not shed any tears, just blank stares. I didn't know how to feel. The theme of 2022 has been to leave the psychopaths and build a new earth. I got the message back in January that all my fights against tyranny with the Board of Supervisors, schools, stores, and restaurants were no longer appropriate for me. Years of Al-Anon taught me the limitations of playing the same scenario over and over again and expecting different results. It was crystal clear there was not going to be any budging the scope of the apocalypse. It was coming, and the only way out was to build a fortress for myself and others. So I forged ahead back in January 2022. I became a secured party creditor, changing my status from federal citizen to non-citizen national. I formed an irrevocable business trust to eliminate government interference from my financial affairs. I invested heavily in put options in Amazon, Facebook, and Netflix and watched $150,000 turn into $1 million. I bought a farm with cash with my trust and invoked my rights to the land via a land patent, which is yet to be recorded by the fraudulent California corporation, but will eventually. Further, preventing government interference. And finally, I purchased an EE system to create a healing center and provide refuge to the community under constant attack physically and emotionally from a government hell-bent on genocide. The legal aspect of the separation was no joke. A full-time job for sure, and for anyone thinking of checking off all the boxes on the separation train, just know there are various levels to engage. Just changing one's status can be as easy as a seminar and some admin work filing documents. Reorienting one's relationship to the psychopaths can take 5 to 10 years, at least for now. Hopefully, we will streamline it in the future. But the point of the separation is freedom, and freedom feels good, right? Slavery bad, freedom good. The reality has been shockingly different for me, and that's not to say I would change a thing. That's just to say I've disconnected from all the things that made me feel alive. Living in the city, freely interacting with others, family gatherings, restaurants, and occasional alcohol, live music, travel. The result feels like standing on an abandoned train station platform with tumbleweeds blowing in the wind. There's a stillness and a silence that become unbearable at times. It's what I've always been afraid of, the lack of a distraction or somebody to blame. Now I truly am as happy as I want to be every day, but the loss of the old life is overwhelming. It would be short-sighted if I didn't comment here on the way God has bridged the gap. The number of like-minded people that have come in to join the New Earth building has been thrilling, and the quality of the information, whether it be legal, educational, health-related, or farming, is mind-blowing. Even love and the nature of love looks different than it's supposed to look, with an abundance and warmth not available to me previously. The optimism and the future is bright indeed. So why the long face, Jeff? LOL. It's really the severing of ties that can't go back. We can't go back to a world where all the children haven't been significantly changed by injectable poison. We can't go back to a time where free speech allowed for societal change. And I don't want to even get into predicting how all the dark plans they have are going to play out. I feel that loss on a deep level. So now the trick is to make that little shift every day into the present and remind myself and others that this really is what we need. This universal kick in the pants is the only way we make the shift. There is an incredibly timely and relevant book to today that was written 100 years ago by a novelist known as Zane Grey. Zane wrote about the Old West and what they went through to survive. In Call of the Canyon, Grey explores the relationship between a New York woman, Carly, visiting her boyfriend, Glenn, who recently moved to Arizona after being in World War I to make a new life for himself. Glenn tries to explain to Carly why he won't be going back to New York. As a girl, before you were claimed by the world, you were earnest at heart. You had big hopes and dreams, and you had intellect too, but you have wasted your talents, Carly. Having money and spending it, living for pleasure, you have not realized your powers. Now, don't look hurt. I'm not censuring you. It's just the way of modern life, and most of your friends have been more careless, thoughtless, useless than you. The aim of their existence is to be comfortable, free from work, worry, pain. They want pleasure, luxury, and what a pity it is. The best of the girls regard marriage as an escape instead of responsibility. You don't marry to get your shoulders square against the old wheel of American progress, to help some man make good, to bring a troop of healthy American kids into the world. You bare your shoulders to the gaze of the multitude and like it best if you are strung with pearls. And then later, when Carly scoffs at Glenn's choice to raise hogs, he replies with, "How'd I ever happen to do it? What was there left for me? I gave my soul and heart and body to the government, to fight for my country. I came home a wreck. What did my government do for me? What did my employers do for me? What did the people I fought for do for me? Nothing. So help me God, nothing. I got a ribbon and a bouquet, a little applause for an hour, and then the sight of me sickened my countrymen. I was broken and used. I was absolutely forgotten. But my body, my life, my soul meant all to me. My future was ruined, but I wanted to live. I had killed men who never harmed me. I was not fit to die. I tried to live. So I fought out my battle alone. Alone! No one understood. No one cared. I came west to keep from dying of consumption inside of the indifferent mob for whom I had sacrificed myself. I chose to die on my feet, away, off alone somewhere. But I got well. And what made me well and saved my soul was the first work that offered, raising and tending hogs. The issues may have changed slightly over the last 100 years, but the need for leaving and creating has not. And so maybe the best questions we can ask during the Bermuda Triangle of holidays, Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's, are not only what are we leaving, but what are we building? The pang of loss will always be there as we forge ahead, but the recommitment to building something new can be renewed anytime we want to get back in the flow. They say you can never go back home again, but I think you can. You can find people who represent the same dysfunction as your childhood and replay the scenario over and over again. But with freedom being taken away in the public sector, it's making it harder and harder to go back home. And easy to settle into lethargy or fear. By making that little shift into what we are creating, we will turn this whole thing around, one day at a time. Wow, I don't know about you all, but that resonated with me a lot. Thank you, Jeff.